whenever your kid's grounded, you just throw them in here. And you just leave them in here for a couple weeks and you take them out when they're ungrounded. Alright, we'll see you later.
Hey, I'm not even grounded one.
Alright, we got everybody in here. Now all we got to do is start running them through the chute system. Now it is 7:35. So we should be able to get this through in a timely manner. It is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for us because we've never used the chute system before. However, we do have a lot of things to do as well while they're in here. We're going to trim some hooves. We're going to do some deworming because we made some poor decisions on how long to leave them on some pastures. And then, of course, this overall health check, and we'll be out of here in no time.
I know that we didn't get a whole lot recorded on that first run, and mainly it's because they knocked this camera over, so I had nothing else rolling. But essentially, getting them through there, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a headache. It is a real challenge, it's a headache, it's a learning curve for you trying to figure out how to get them through. It's a learning curve for them because they don't understand that they can go through it and it's not a trap. So, in our case, these sheep have never been through a chute system. So 7 years of running sheep, never been through a chute system. They've been manhandled every time, which, needless to say, is far more of a headache than this is going to be, even with the growing pains. So I just want to clarify that even though you have a chute system, there will be growing pains. Don't expect it to just instantly be better. It's still going to be a little bit of a headache and a little bit of a chore. Once you all, I'm saying you all because you and your flock learn it, it'll be a lot better. So let's get to it.
We've gotten almost to the end. We did save the end for you guys because we're going to show more specifics. So I showed you the time lapse because we did try different methods. A lot of different methods that we tried. Some of them worked well, some of them not so well, and we didn't really try them again. What we seem to have the most luck with, because you've seen throughout the day, I was the only one that was here the whole day. Everybody else kind of came in shifts, so to speak. So Cheyenne and Chrissy were here with me in the morning, and then the afternoon was the two boys, so Gage and his friend Reese. And then Reese's dad came and helped a little bit this afternoon when he got off work. And now it's just me and Chrissy because we only have this handful left. And we saved these guys because a few things. One of them is that they need the most doctoring out of the whole flock. Everybody else was pretty quick, pretty simple to go through. Mainly what everybody needed was either a confirmation check on what their tag number is and if they had a tag. The other thing that they needed was simply adding a tag because we didn't tag any lambs this spring because we knew that we were going to move forward with purchasing some sort of chute system, and this Lakeland one is the one we went with, obviously, but there was a lot of irons in the fire. We didn't know which one we were going to go with at the end of the day, but we're happy with what we went with. The first thing I'm going to mention, though, is this right here. So this lamb got severely trampled, mainly because we were trying to push too many at once. And what I mean by that is the different methods we tried, like one of them worked amazing, but everybody wanted to pack in there. And so if you have lambs mixed in, if you had all adults or all lambs, it'd been fine. But when you have them mixed together like we did, bad idea. And whenever you're trying to get them through quick, and that was causing a lot of headache for us. So what we ended up having to do at one point, you saw us go through and just pick up all the lambs and get all the lambs through. This guy is probably gonna need more doctoring, so we're gonna do some more to him. We got him some water, got him cooled down, and it's not looking good, and it was stupidity on our part. So instead of us walking around all the time and trying to open and slide this, it actually seemed to work pretty well if we did something like this, where we have control of it and we can just pull it back and forth for ourselves. So this makes it to where that chute lane is open. We can get them through the sweep and then get them into the actual chute, or my goodness, drawing a blank here, the chute system over here. So once we did that, and once we kind of figured that out, that helped a lot. The other thing we use is this poker pole. So like I said, we use it a lot too. And what we do is once we got so many in there, we might actually just push this straight across like that. And then you saw the lock, how it slid through as well. So now it's locked. So whoever's in here is trapped in here, it's locked. They can't even if they tried to back up, it doesn't matter. They're not gonna go anywhere. So this is actually set up really well. Like even if you were gonna work them yourself, easily done. I wouldn't recommend doing it on a 95-degree day like we did, but you could do it. You know the old phrase, you could do anything once. All right, so now that we've got that kind of situated, Chrissy's gonna get these guys moving in there. I think we put the flags away. You might be able to just scare them maybe. So just like that, Chrissy just got them all in there on her own, no tools needed. You can see Betty, so this is Black Betty. She's coming right through on her own. Even with me standing here, they are all very well willing to come through. Chrissy's just using the sweep over there, and it works pretty well if I don't get in the way and stop the flow. But she's just pushed them through like that. And then I'm gonna get Betty to go in the actual squeeze chute here. Now Betty is an old gal, and her time on our farm has unfortunately come to an end. She should have went away last year. All right, now I'm doing my best to show you everything about it. So squeezing, pretty easy. Pull one side or pull the other, or pull them both at the same time. You have a lot of options as far as that goes. You can lock this so that they can't come out. However, we've learned that one, having gravel down there is kind of a pain because it gets in the track of it. Probably shouldn't put gravel near it. The other thing is that the chute system, the way it works, it's not saying you don't need it, because there's some stubborn ones you're gonna need the lock for. Like you're gonna have to have that gate across for some of the stubborn ones that you get them in here, and you're gonna have to kind of fight with them to get them to go take their head through the chute. Now remember, these guys, this is their second time through, and you've seen how easy it was to get Betty in here. And most of these guys, actually, once they see one of them go through and they have them all in a line like this, they're pretty willing to go through on their own. And you're having this in the automatic position, so to speak. You'll see that it makes it to where you really don't have to do much to catch them. Now I've got her in here. I got to do some doctoring real quick. She's going to get, unfortunately, a yellow tag. Now, on our farm, a yellow tag is kind of like your pink slip, so to speak. This means that you are no longer going to be in the breeding flock, and you will go to the sale barn on the next trip, which in this guy's case will be this coming month. It is sad because Betty's been with us. She actually was part of our farm when it started. Her number is 14, actually. Now I've got her in here. I got to do some doctoring real quick. She's going to get, unfortunately, a yellow tag. Now, on our farm, a yellow tag is kind of like your pink slip, so to speak. This means that you are no longer going to be in the breeding flock, and you will go to the sale barn on the next trip, which in this guy's case will be this coming month. It is sad because Betty's been with us. She actually was part of our farm when it started. Her number is 14, actually, just to kind of drive that point home. But it's part of being a responsible farmer, and she actually should have went last year. However, emotions kind of got us to where we were like, oh, do we really want to get rid of her? She's still making good babies. We kind of justified trying to keep her, and she still made good babies this year. But it was very hard on her, and you can see that her body composition has really suffered from it. Now, all of these ones are ones that they need something else other than just tagging or confirming tagging, anything of that nature. So Betty, in this case, she actually does need a little bit of dewormer. She's got a pretty poopy butt, and like I said, she is incredibly skinny, which is really unusual for her.
Still has pellets.
Yeah, she still has pellets. She doesn't really have any signs other than when you pull her gums back, which I guess I could show you a little bit how easy it is to kind of look at their gums and everything while you're in here. It's so her gums are usually completely black, and then the bottom is very red, or like a brighter red, and you can see it's more of a pale color right now. So she definitely has some sort of worm load going on, and we want to address it, especially before she leaves. So I've opened this up. Now she can freely go through. If I push this down like that, it's gonna lift the front. I'll give her a little boost. She'll realize that it's gonna open and she can go through. When I pulled it up just like I did, oh, go ahead, Mama. So when I pulled this up, this actually made it to where the head latch, I'm gonna squeeze her so she doesn't hurt herself. This made it to where the head latch is actually going to allow her to go through and catch herself. Now, doesn't have any issues with it other than if you have large parts of your flock or large animals in your flock and small animals and lambs and everything else, you are going to have to move these bars, and you can see that there's different settings for them. Now I don't usually move the bottom because nobody's had a melon that big yet where they had to have the whole thing moved. So usually we can just move the top one and it allows them to get in. Unfortunately, it does let them move their head a little bit, so it might be something you want to consider as far as your part, how you want to put them, or if you want to move them all the way. Again, completely up to you, but it works fine like it is. You can see she can't get out. We are going to continue so that she's not in here real long. She is unfortunately going to leave as well. Her number is 17, but is now going to be 23,916. And like I said, she's getting her pink slip. Her days are unfortunately over here. Now she doesn't have a cool name like Black Betty, but she actually has been a really good breeder for us. And again, we kept her too long because of how good of a breeder she was, and you can see her body composition has suffered from it. So don't do like us. Make the right decisions at the right time for the animals so they're not suffering. Now, we think of all these guys as employees. They are employees for us. We want them to work in really good conditions because the better conditions they work in, the better product they're going to produce for us. So if we don't feed them well, if we don't doctor them as they need it, all those things are going to come into play and either make less babies or no babies at all. It really depends. They have to be healthy. If they're not healthy, they just won't breed. Old age like this, it's just one of those things that we, like for us, this is our 7th year, and some of these guys were 3 or 4 years when we got them. So like 10 or 11 years old is pretty old for a breeder. And realistically, moving forward, we're trying to stop at about that 8-year mark. So everybody up through number 100 has been culled from the flock. They all got their yellow tag, and they're unfortunately not going to come back for next year. Moose, do not touch my camera.
Touch the camera, bud. Go on.
There's always an animal that's got to be mischievous. Okay, so she's got that. Her number is 916. She's got her ivermectin. And we're going to pull that down. We're going to open these up, encourage her to go out while it's holding. If she get past the fact that it's got her big melon in it. Come on, girl. There you go. Like I said, once you kind of get them set. Oh, hang on a second. I've got a lamb coming through, and I would like to make this the appropriate size, because if you don't make it the appropriate size, lambs will get through because, well, depending on the lamb, I guess. Like that one wouldn't make it through, but it still makes it easier to hold them still and do whatever you need to do with them, especially when it comes to tagging. I don't like them to be moving around because it's almost guaranteed that at some point you're going to pull on their ear, or you're going to put the tag in the wrong spot in their ear. And then before you know it, they're bleeding everywhere, and we don't want that, especially with it being warm in summertime. Come on. That's a sure way to attract flies. Whoops. Now while we're at it, there's a foot pedal right down here at the bottom. You can see it where my foot is tapping. Now because Chrissy already told me it's a ram lamb, it's simple just to flip them like this to look. So I don't have to do anything other than simply look. The other thing I want to do while I'm in here, I want to check their feet, because for whatever reason, some of these ram lambs, their toes look awful. I'm not sure what the deal is. It's just the ram lambs, I guess. Maybe the girls are sneaking out and having a spa day. I have no idea. But either way, it's not desirable, and it will cause some issues for them. So we want to make sure that they're still eating. We don't want them, too sore to walk around or anything like that. We also don't want them to lose weight, because they're going to go to the sale barn, and this is the kind of the last ones we had. Everything else is pretty well sold from the farm. And you can also see why they're still here, because these ones are the very smallest of them. This is a little different, I guess. So the red tags in our farm mean you're a ram. And unfortunately, that's just as bad as getting a pink slip, so to speak. Yellow tags and red tags makes it to where when we have to come out here and do some sorting, unfortunately, that sorting is going to involve the red and yellows leaving. Now, there's nothing wrong with keeping them. However, in our case, the ram lambs don't make us money. They can't breed back to this flock because they'll either breed their mom, their sister, well, their half sister, I guess, and we don't want any of that to happen. So because we keep all of our females every year, we get new rams every year, and we're actually doing that this week. They're going to come in and they'll be introduced to the flock. So a lot of our lambs are going to end up being born in that January time frame, just because of the timing. Everybody's been pretty much ramless for a long time now, so their hormones and pheromones are really getting them. So when those gentlemen come here, they'll be running pretty wild. And I think he had a poopy butt. I can't remember. Just barely. What's your gums look like? Oh, yeah, your gums are very pale. Yeah, unfortunately, we weren't very smart and didn't prepare well. So instead of using a nice oral drench gun, we don't know where ours is at. So we're using this one. It's supposed to have a tube tied to it, but it'll work. And it will also get us by for now. They never seem to like the flavor. I know. You got the tiny arms and the big head. The big head and the tiny arms. That's what it was. The big head and the tiny arms. She's gonna stay. They look like barbed wire sores. That's what they're looking like. Let's see it here. Actually, that one could be from rams mounting her, because that's a scar for sure. It's not growing hair there. Other way. Mama, if you don't fight it and just go, get out of here. I don't know if the camera's going to catch it well enough, but you can... So nearly 12 hours of working them, you know, was very hard on all of us, to include the sheep. Like I said, if you're going to use it for the first time, definitely aim for a cloudy day. Also, aim for a day in spring or fall when it's much cooler. We don't have any shade here, which is probably something we need to address in a later time frame to do something. This is eventually going to get trapped and going to be a horseshoe of barns. So we'll have like 2 different lambing barns, and then we'll have another barn that's kind of like a special needs area to deal with them in the winter time. And then also store like the sawdust for their bedding and their hay and all that good stuff. If I could improve one thing on it, it would actually be this. This sweep pinched the crap out of my fingers repeatedly today. And part of it's because I was probably in a hurry trying to get something done. I understand how it happened. But there's a better way, I think. And honestly, the crook, like Bobby, my buddy that was over here helping, I'm glad he came up with that thought process, because I was like, damn, it's way better. It's not going to get me anymore. So that, much better. Other improves.
And if it's not completely level there, it's hard to move the gate.
It is, because it wants to swing, like right now it's swung down to the center because that's where it naturally wants to set. Level the ground that you plan on putting this on. When we have the other barns, like once we build them and we get everything kind of permanent, we are going to level this out before we set it up again. It'll make things much nicer. Still works on unlevel ground. You know, it's not going to stop you from using it by any means, but it could be better. That's 2 improves. What's the third one? Oh, actually, you know what? I know. I wish that this paneling came up higher. because kind of like working cows or anything else, if the animal doesn't know you, the animal just doesn't want to be near you. And since Spirit's always with me and pushing these guys around, I think they've kind of associated me and Spirit as bad.
2 in 1.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that meme where they're like, I'm telling you.
Or then they see their
Oh, no.
their sheeples out there. So then,
That's true too, yeah. But yeah, it's like that meme where the sheep are in the pasture and they're talking. They're like, I'm telling you, the dog and the guy are working together. I'll see if I can find it and insert it in there. I think the other thing, Chrissy just reminded me actually, the squeeze chute for the head. Instead of having the pins that go through it, I'm trying to think of it, but there's like when you're setting up like a canopy deal and you have the little push deals, the push buttons, you push them in and then you can slide out the pipe, and then like obviously once you let go, the next time it meets the hole, it's gonna catch it. They should do something like that with those. Outside of that, like I'm really struggling to find things that need improved. And honestly, like I think for the majority of people, they're probably not gonna have the same issues like with the dog or the sheep associating you with the dog and bad, because like they didn't care about you, didn't bother you with them. It was just me. So I'm gonna have to talk to Spirit and tell them start treating her nice, or start treating them nicely. You know, go up to them and ask them to move. Don't just bark at them and tell them to move. You know, say please maybe. Probably an add-on thing, but it would be nice if like they could put, like I said, make the paneling taller, but also make like a shelf to put all your stuff on. That would be really handy. You know, yeah, we've got a table and stuff, but some sort of shelf, or like, I'm probably gonna end up welding something up that's gonna set on this when we need it. And then when we don't need it, I'll take it off and take it inside because I don't do much painting. But I'll make something that kind of like holster your whatever you're using to do shots. Yeah, your drench, something of that nature, and maybe even in like the nail trimmers. Yeah. I think I'd like that too. But yeah, something like that would be nice. And then like maybe a little flat spot, or like a little table-like top to put the tags on it, and maybe even like the whatever drench you might be using.
Yeah, and something that can be like left on or taken off.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make it to where it just comes off, because, like I said, you know me and painting.
That'd be a great accessory to make for these.
It would be a great accessory.
Even if you just bought
Lakeland,
them separately.
Lakeland, if you're watching, you know, count me in. I'd demo it for you, I guess.
Sounds like you might even make one.
Actually, yeah. Lakeland, if you're watching, I'll make like the prototype for you. You guys spiff it up, and you guys send me a painted version after that, and then you can have the patent. That's fair. It's pretty good when you use something and then you struggle to think of things, like especially after using it for 12 hours and you struggle to think of things that, hey, this needs changed, that needs changed. Like, only 3 or 4 things is pretty good in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
I like the panels a lot too. They're super light, really easy to pull together as you condense down. I think they nailed that. I really got nothing.
So even the boys were moving them by themselves?
Yeah. No, actually, no, I do have an improve for that. Make the pins the same size as the other stuff. That was kind of inconvenient, because I wanted to put it somewhere and I couldn't because the pins were different. Well, we're going to move some sheep back to where they belong, because they don't belong in this pasture now. And hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something from it. And if you have questions, put them in the comments. I really think we covered kind of everything, but if you have questions, we do answer them. And oh, I know what it was. This should come in orange, so it matches my tractors.
Blue's my favorite color.
No, I need it to be Persian orange so it matches the Allis Challmers tractors.
Then why is our roof green?
Because
it matches our buildings.
I say the house is green. It does match the buildings. I guess that's nice. Now that I think about it, maybe there was color options when I bought it. I don't remember.
Know. Now you're gonna have to check.
I'm gonna have to look. Maybe there was color options.
I don't know, but I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
So let's send them back.
Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, just let us know. We'll answer them down in the comments. And if you're on the fence, if you're gonna keep sheep for a long period of time, I would go with it and buy one.
Highly recommended.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to manhandling them anymore. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next time. Dude, are you upset because you didn't get to go through the squeeze chute? It's for sheep, not you. You're too big. It's one of those moments where, like, you know how you have to be so tall to ride a ride? Well, you're too tall to ride this ride.